convinced that 95% of Hollywood is Nepo babies and the other 5% are people that are self-made. Because yesterday I found out that yet another actress is a Nepo baby, and it just never fails to disappoint. And even if their parents aren't that famous or aren't famous at all, they're just like a director or a producer or whatever, they still have that upper hand. And it's all of them. I swear, it's like unheard of to find a new artist that didn't have any connections to Hollywood. A lot of the old stars like Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, J-Lo, Britney Spears, those type of people, they literally came from nothing to the point where them being actresses, whatever, save their families from poverty.
I feel like the Nepo baby conversations has reached its absolute limit, mainly in regards to the perpetual and unnecessary discussions that are constantly had over what the true definition of a Nepo baby is, who exactly should be classified as one, and how the proliferation of Nepo babies across the entertainment world is negatively impacting the industry. Nepotism in the entertainment industry has existed since the beginning of time and will continue to survive and thrive until the end of time. But the reality of the entertainment industry is that most of the musicians, athletes, actors, and actresses that we see on the small and big screen more than likely come from wealthy and well-connected families. What I think ignites the fire in these conversations and slightly irritates the average person is when the people overtly benefiting from nepotism fail to acknowledge their privilege by saying that they did not benefit from their connections or that they had the same opportunities as everyone else, which is a slap in the face to the people who are not as fortunate to have an industry connect. Recently, the rapper Saweetie was trending on the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, as there was a user reminiscing on Saweetie's first mainstream song, Icy Girl, in which Saweetie rapped about achieving the glamorous lifestyle she personifies in her image. One user said, finding out Saweetie wrote Icy Girl when she was homeless as a manifestation song and it put her on the map to lead her to fame and wealth, which is just so great. She said, looking in the mirror, I thank God for what I'm about to be. Like, what? In which another user responded by saying, being homeless when your first cousin is Gabrielle Union, your grandfather played for the 49ers as a Super Bowl winning linebacker, MC Hammer is your uncle, and Zaytoven is your cousin is crazy. This person went on to say, I'm just saying it's crazy to me to have so many resourceful people in your family and community and still go through homelessness. It saddens me more than anything. I know people's rich family members don't always help them, and that's crazy to me too. Saweetie seemingly caught wind of this online discussion, to which she posted a response by saying, I hate the Nepo baby narrative. It spits in the face of the child who grew up barely spending time with her parents because they was too busy hustling, trying to make ends meet. Also, I think Saweetie, the college girl, would have had her wealthy family pay for tuition and boarding so that she could enjoy the social experience of college instead of working 4 jobs to support herself. Saying I'm privileged ignores the girl who risked her safety renting rooms off of Craigslist because she believed in herself enough to stay in an expensive city while everyone else was telling her to move home because that's the safe and the better financial option. Can't pay for studio time? No problem. I make car rap videos, which is how I got discovered. I'm proud of all the hard work I've done, accomplished, and will continue to share my story to inspire those who come after me.
Speaking of family, you have an interesting family tree. Related to Willie Harper. MC Hammer, Gabrielle Union, and Zaytoven. You can fact check us again because we're usually wrong.
So Gab is my dad's cousin. My uncles, we grew up in the same church as Zay and his family. My dad was one of the bodyguards for MC Hammer. And
Sick.
MC Hammer's Uncle Stan, his family joined my grandmother's church.
I think there have been a few misconceptions about Saweetie's upbringing versus the story she tells the public, which has understandably confused people. But as a longtime Saweetie fan, since before her Icy Girl days, she has been very consistent with her childhood stories and her narrative about her journey to stardom. Though Saweetie was admittedly renting rooms off of Craigslist, she always had a social media aesthetic that told a completely different story than the life she was supposedly living behind the scenes. Her glamorous, lavish, and sleek online brand gave the impression that she was doing well with the assistance of her family's connections, but given what she has said repeatedly in interviews over the years, I don't believe she fits into the category of a Nepo baby. But unfortunately, since so many people on social media have made it their mission and a trend to clown and bring Saweetie down a peg every time she opens her mouth, it is no surprise people will randomly throw that label on her even if it doesn't fit. In the case of quote-unquote Nepo babies completely being tone deaf about the way their career has panned out due to their advantageous connections in the industry, people like Emma Roberts will come to mind. Emma Roberts, who is the daughter of Eric Roberts and the niece of Julia Roberts, rose to fame, at least in my household, by being the star of the Nickelodeon sitcom Unfabulous. Without much of a resume in acting like other child stars who eventually landed their own television show like Raven Simone, Selena Gomez, or Amanda Bynes, anyone who watched that show could see that she wasn't the strongest actress out of her fellow co-stars, despite being the main character. And it is fair to assume her family connection in the industry helped her land her first big break. Over the years, Emma has starred in a slew of Ryan Murphy productions for his American Horror Story anthology series, as well as various films, but despite her consistent release of projects, she has not been able to beat the Nepo baby allegations, and that is most likely due to her off-putting behavior over the years. When asked by Flaunt magazine how she felt when she was excluded from the infamous New York Nepo baby article in 2022, Emma said, "Should I be offended? It was a cheap shot to put all the celebrity kids on the cover of a magazine on babies' bodies. It's like maybe the Nepo baby conversation would have been a more interesting article written intelligently in Vanity Fair with nuance, but instead it was kind of this viral hating on people thing. I've lost more jobs than I've gained from being in the business. People have opinions, and sometimes maybe they're not good opinions of people in your family. I've never gotten a job because of it. I know I definitely have lost a couple of jobs because of it." When Emma said, "I've lost more jobs than I've gained from being in the business," it was truthfully hard to believe, as Emma has a well-documented history of questionable and problematic behavior personally and professionally. Most notably, Emma was detained by the police in Montreal, Quebec in 2013 for allegedly abusing her then-boyfriend, fellow actor Evan Peters, in which the police officers arrested Emma as Evan had a bloody nose and more visible physical injuries. Emma was later taken into custody and released soon after Evan declined to press charges. There was also a video circulating in 2023 in which Emma was leaving a bookstore in the Hamptons where former President Bill Clinton was also shopping, in which as Emma exited the store, she told a black Secret Service agent to get out of her way, even though there was more than enough space for her to get out of the door. Finally, there was another incident with Emma when she was filming American Horror Story 1984, where her co-star Angelica Ross claims that Emma misgendered the transgender actress. Angelica spoke out about the situation on an IG Live.
I'm standing in front of Emma, talking to her like this, and she's in front of me, her back against the mirror. She goes, "John, Angelica's being mean," and he goes, and I know she's being, she's not being for real, she's just being whatever, and John is like, "Okay, ladies, that's enough, let's, get back to work," and she then looks at me and she goes, "Don't you mean lady?" And she turns around like this and covers her mouth and goes back here, but can't see. I'm looking at her dead ass in the camera like, what the fuck did you just say?
After the IG Live went viral and caused major backlash for Emma, Angelica took to her social media to notify everyone that Emma called Angelica to apologize. Angelica said, "Thank you, Emma Roberts, for calling and apologizing. Recognizing your behavior was not that of an ally. I will leave the line open to follow up on your desire to do better and support social justice causes with your platform." I felt it was necessary to highlight these few troublesome situations because it could help explain why Emma has lost more jobs than gained in the industry, in addition to probably not being the strongest actress. Emma has a right to her perspective, but being incredibly tone deaf to the advantages her family name has gotten her in the industry is naturally going to rub people the wrong way. Like this one Reddit comment stated, "It's so weird to me that these Nepo babies think they would have made it in Hollywood if they were a regular civilian without any connections. If that's the case, then why is it like 90% of Hollywood Nepo babies? Like 99% wouldn't have made it without their family connections. This unwillingness to acknowledge privilege is so off-putting. Like, I'm not going to blame you for taking advantage of your connections to get a leg up. Heck, I would do the same in your position, but don't pretend nepotism didn't get you to where you are." Shifting away from Emma Roberts, an actor who fully accepts the role nepotism has played in his career will be Jack Quaid, who currently stars in the superhero series The Boys and is also the son of actors Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. When his mother Meg was asked in 2023 how she and her son dealt with the scrutiny of being in the public eye, in typical mama bear fashion, Meg said, "You don't wish it on anyone. It's too hard and it's too weird. Jack is really talented. He's more of a natural than I'll ever be. That Nepo stuff is so dismissive of his work ethic, his gifts, and how sensitive he is to the idea of his privilege. When asked recently in an interview if Jack was ever worried about people criticizing him if he were to ever consider doing romantic comedy films, given that his mother, Meg Ryan, is arguably the queen of rom-coms, Jack responded that he wanted to do something else that felt different from what she has done. Jack went on to say, "Yeah, I mean, no matter what I do, people are going to call attention to it. People have called me a Nepo baby. I'm inclined to agree. I am an immensely privileged person, was able to get representation pretty early on, and that's more than half the battle. I think the door was open for me in a lot of ways that is just not for a lot of actors. And I've just tried to work as hard as I possibly can to prove that I deserve to walk through that door. So if that's in the rom-com space, it's got to be different enough, and I need to work my butt off." When asked what he thought about his mother's comments in her interview about the Nepo baby stuff, Jack said, "Yeah, I saw that too. My first thought was like, she's being a mom, she's being a loving mom, but I don't think she's trying to say that I'm not a Nepo baby. I think she's just trying to say that, in her opinion, it undermines my talent. I don't think it undermines my talent. I know that I work hard, and I know that I've heard no way more than I've heard yes, but I also know that this industry is insanely hard to break into, and I had an easier time doing that than most. Both things can be true. So no, I don't think she was trying to say that I'm not a privileged person. She knows, she must know. I think she was being a mom." I feel like this was the first response from a quote-unquote Nepo baby that everyone universally agreed with, because it is an honest and realistic perspective from a child of two huge movie stars who is cognizant of the privilege he was born into and mindful of how hard it is to break into the industry he is currently in, while being considerate of how the average person would view him. I saw this one comment that said, "I like Jack Quaid. Nepotism happens everywhere. It is what it is. Why wouldn't any parent use their hard work to help their child? We work hard so our kids can have better lives. Sometimes people get an in the industry because of it. Just gotta hope it does a good enough job of weeding out the bad ones. Athletes, music artists, actors, being in the right family has always helped. Yes, I am jealous, but that's how the world works. Jack at least seems good at it." This leads me to my final example being Bronny James, who is the first son of LeBron James, who currently plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. Ever since Bronny was in high school, LeBron has made it abundantly clear of he and Bronny's ideal future NBA plans.
What's your hope for Bronny's future?
To be happy and find happiness in whatever it is that he does.
I want him to get to the NBA. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to be on the same. I want to be on the court with him. I think that would be an unbelievable moment.
What do you need to do in your career before you can hang it up?
I need to be on the floor with my boy. I got to be on the floor with Bronny, but I would love to do the whole King Griffey Sr. Jr. thing. That would be ideal for sure. Being with him, spending a full year with him in the same uniform, that would be the icing on the cake.
This clip is from the Amazon Prime show Uninterrupted Top Class, in which Bronny was one of the high school basketball players from the private school Sierra Canyon, where he was documented for 3 years as the team competed for the state championship. During his senior year, Bronny committed to the University of Southern California in May 2023, but unfortunately, 2 months later during a USC practice session, Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest caused by a congenital heart defect. 5 months later, in December 2024, Bronny made his season debut for the USC Trojans, but ended up playing only 25 games in the season, in which Bronny averaged 4.8 points, 2.1 assists, and 2.8 rebounds per game. In April of 2024, Bronny declared for the NBA draft just after 1 year in college, while also maintaining his college eligibility. The following month, he was medically eligible for the NBA draft, but despite being invited to work out for over 10 teams in the league, Bronny declined all of them except the Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers, in which his father plays for the latter team. It was reported around this time that the Lakers were considering drafting Bronny as a way to keep his father around for a few more years. Eventually, in June 2024, the LA Lakers drafted Bronny as the 55th pick in the second round of the draft, solidifying the first father-son duo in the league that LeBron publicly vocalized for years. Leading up to the draft, many people disagree with Bronny's decision to enter the draft, as they, myself included, felt he was simply not ready. Given his abysmal stats in college and his health concerns, it is reasonable for people to recommend Bronny to do 1 more year in college so that he could have developed and hopefully raised his stock in the 2025 draft. But from an outsider's point of view, it seems he probably gave into the pressure his father was putting out into the atmosphere to create an iconic moment of being the first father and son to play on the same NBA team before he retires. Several analysts such as Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins and Bronny James spoke about how LeBron unintentionally put his son in a bad spot, given how critical NBA fans and the media can be, especially Laker fans. Bronny James boldly tweeted during the NBA draft by saying, "Still can't believe either LeBron thinks this is a good idea, and it's embarrassing more people in my profession won't call this the clownish that it is, but here we are." Currently, the NBA Summer League is ongoing, where typically rookies, sophomores, and G League players play in a series of games to prepare for the upcoming NBA season. Though people were hoping for the best, Bronny is not having the best performance, which is lending credence to most people's belief that he was not prepared to be in the NBA if he could barely compete with his fellow peers, let alone against the veteran, all-star, Hall of Fame players he will face late this year. Bronny debuted with only 4 points on 2 for 9 shooting in the first game and was sidelined for the second game due to a knee injury. In his most recent game with the Boston Celtics, Bronny finished with a meager 2 points on 1 for 5 shooting, and at the time of the release of this video is averaging 4.3 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 1.5 assists, as well as 1.3 steals. Also, I will add that Bronny just had his best Summer League game yet, in which the Lakers played the Atlanta Hawks, in which Bronny scored a career high of 12 points and made his first 2 3-pointers. This game against the Celtics was followed by a lot of commentary on Bronny's struggles, as he sadly airballed 2 shots in the game. The reigning NBA Finals MVP Jaylen Brown also attended this game, in which he was caught on camera talking about Bronny to WNBA players Kaiser Gondrzik and Angel Reese. After the clip of Jaylen Brown started to circulate on social media, Jaylen took to the platform X to respond by saying, "It's a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA. It reflects greatness and longevity. Bronny has all the tools around him to be successful. I look forward to watching his growth." Bronny James also spoke out on Bronny once more by discussing how Bronny might not be the best fit for the Lakers.
I've seen the argument that's been made, well, he can come to the Lakers, and then the Lakers are in a position to help develop his talent. Number one, the Lakers have not demonstrated themselves to be a well-run organization. Number two, the Lakers are talking about trying to win a championship. Ain't nobody got no time to be out here playing with Bronny. And number three, they have other places for you to get ready to play in the NBA. One of them is called college, where I am sure that young man would have been having the time of his life, maybe even getting better at basketball while getting those NIL checks. So why are we doing this?
I personally believe that most of the criticism Bronny receives is warranted, and it is not indicative of how people feel about Bronny as a person. By all accounts, he is a well-mannered, respectful, and resilient young man who has potential to get better. But sadly, he is a victim of his father's ego and desire to make history and create this legacy moment for himself that might not be in the best interest of his son. It is obvious Bronny's recruitment to the Lakers specifically is a product of nepotism, but that is not the issue because the NBA is practically built on nepotism, and that is totally okay. Literally, the current Lakers ownership is a byproduct of nepotism, as Jeannie Buss inherited the Lakers from her late father, Dr. Jerry Buss. The problem is, LeBron made preposterous claims previously that his son was better than a lot of the current NBA players he had been watching on NBA League Pass. When you make statements like that, people are going to expect your son to cash those checks on the court. But unfortunately, we have not seen that yet because Bronny is simply playing like we expect a 55th pick to play. But sadly, the pressure placed on him far exceeds his capabilities on the court at the moment. All in all, nepotism exists in practically every single industry, but it is necessary to call a spade when acknowledging the impact it plays in the advancement of a career. Please let me know in the comments what you all think of any of the people we discussed in this video or any other Nepo babies that you like or dislike. Also, let me know your thoughts on the Nepo baby discussion and how you think nepotism has positively or negatively impacted the music, sports, or film or TV industry. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell, and I'll see you next time.